This is a response to Sinatra Says. I am not hitting on him for his views on Bernie, but I will point out flaws in his arguments and present my points on why I believe he is wrong. So Sinatra, if you're watching this, no hard feelings, please.
What I find beyond belief is his incredible hypocrisy.
To the three people cheering in the crowd, have you all forgotten what Bernie Sanders did and how he made himself out to be the epitome of hypocrisy in the last presidential candidate election? How he ran against the establishment up until somebody bought him a new house, and then he was pro-Hillary Clinton after the nomination was stolen from him by the DNC and Hillary. He got beaten by the establishment, so he just said, buy me a house and I'll join the establishment.
Bernie definitely was screwed over by the DNC and Hillary Clinton. He only supported her because he felt like he had to in a last-ditch effort to take down Donald Trump. It was a hard pill to swallow, but he had to do it to keep Donald Trump from becoming president. If he had not been screwed over by the DNC, I assure you, he would have mopped the floor with Donald Trump.
This is a man who ran for president telling the people of this country that he was going to stand up for the working class.
Take your pick, Bernie. Is it the fact that unemployment is down, GDP is up, and stock markets are soaring? Which of those things hurt the middle class and the working class?
Unemployment was down, GDP was up, and stock markets were soaring when Trump took office, because his predecessor was Obama. Obama did all that. The past few decades show that after Republicans take office, they ruin and destroy much of the economic prosperity that was created by their Democratic predecessors. That is why unemployment was higher when Obama took office than when Trump took office, because Obama was inheriting a fucked up country from George W. Bush.
That he was going to stand up to the political and economic establishment. And then, once he got elected, and without a second's hesitation, he brings more billionaires into his administration than any president in history.
Hey, stupid, guess what? Maybe millionaires and billionaires know what the fuck they're doing. Maybe they know what they're talking about, so he got the best people. And it's only 5 billionaires, by the way. Obama's cabinet had a few, but according to The Hill, the super lefty publication, Obama's cabinets were too busy dreaming up unworkable democratic utopias than working. So I think I'd rather take the billionaires over the lazy fucking millionaires in Obama's cabinet.
One example of a disastrous billionaire cabinet pick for Donald Trump was Betsy DeVos, a woman who has no fucking experience in education, but is now the Secretary of Education. Betsy DeVos is a right-wing Republican fundamentalist Christian who supports charter and private schools over public schools. In her most recent education spending plan, she plans to cut public school spending by over $9 billion, which will hurt millions of poor and middle-class Americans. But hey, as long as the rich Christian kids get their education, she's happy. She wants to funnel money from public education to charter and private schools, especially religious ones, which would violate the separation of church and state, which is outlined in the Constitution. Any government spending on religious schools and establishments is unconstitutional, whether it be for Christian schools or schools of a different religion. Oh yeah, let's not forget the fact that she wants to slash student loan forgiveness, and the fact that she hired a fucking student loan CEO to run the $1.3 trillion federal student aid program. I could go on and on about her, but I just don't got the energy. I will leave links in the description below to articles on her for further detail. I picked her because she is a cabinet choice by Trump that I hate the most.
And he hires the former president of Goldman Sachs to be his chief economic advisor.
Something tells me the president of one of the most successful firms in the nation might know something about economics.
Well, they do know economics that will benefit the rich.
In 4 months within his administration, he pushes some of the most destructive pieces of legislation in the modern history of our country, legislation that will cause intense suffering and pain for millions of working class families. Mr. Trump, do not tell us that you are a friend of the working class when you propose to throw 23 million Americans off of health care.
I don't know how many times this particular point is going to have to be debunked. It's not 23 million people getting thrown off of health care. What it is 23 million people who are going to choose not to buy health care because they don't have a government sanction or a government fine over their head that says they have to buy it.
Obamacare was not perfect. It originally was right-wing legislation, believe it or not. But if you compare it to Trump care, then Obamacare was the best thing ever in comparison. Actually, if you have not heard, Obamacare's popularity soared greatly after Trump took office, and the approval rating of Trump care is extremely low. The health care bill, if passed, will cut Medicaid spending, something which Trump himself promised not to do. It will give an $800 billion tax cut to the rich. Premiums will go up, and will allow insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. One mandate of Obamacare was that health insurance companies have to spend 80% of the money from customers on actual health care. Do you think that they're going to keep doing that, or do the morally right things for people they are supposed to insure under Trump care? Hell no. Healthcare costs will go up, insurance quality will go down, and people will die at greater rates in this country. Single payer is the only answer to healthcare in America.
President Trump, spare us the lies and the hypocrisy.
Okay, Bernie, here's the deal. You wanted to raise taxes to over 55% on working class people to pay for your horrible economic plan. You were okay with taxing people up to 90% of their income to pay for your economic plan. So tell me again, who doesn't care about the working class? Because it sure as shit seems to me that Trump is doing more than your horrible policies could ever do for the average working class citizen of the United States.
The 90% tax rate thing is a right-wing myth used to smear Bernie Sanders. When the Republicans did not worry about Donald Trump, they were worried about the possibility of Bernie winning the Democratic nomination. They would rather have risked a Hillary presidency than a Bernie one. That alone should speak volumes. Also, Kyle Klinsky did a video on this myth back in January last year, and link to that video will be in the description below.
Don't tell us that you are a friend of working families when you propose devastating cuts to Head Start, child care, public education, when you make it harder for working class kids to get a college education because of massive cuts in the Pell Grant program. Don't tell us that you support workers when you propose massive cuts in nutrition programs, including the WIC program designed for low-income pregnant women and their newborn babies.
The cuts to these programs are minimal at best. They are almost nothing. But they are enough to make a difference to the government when they are all put together, which is what we need. We need to stop spending money exorbitantly that we don't have, Bernie Sanders. I know it's hard for a man who's never held a job in his life to understand the value of a dollar and what it means to save money and what it means to spend money that you don't have and be in debt. You know what? I'm actually going to stop his video here.
Then I will stop your video here. Bernie Sanders is no perfect guy. I disagree with him on a variety of things, but he sure is a hell of a lot better than Donald Trump. As for spending the money that we don't have argument, we got the money, or can have it at least if we stop giving the fucking rich tax breaks, spend money on things we need, like the programs that Bernie talked about. Stop spending hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions, on our military and military operations overseas. Oh yeah, and stop giving corporations massive subsidies that they can live without. Trump's budget is a disaster. Trump's healthcare is a disaster. The real moron, Sinatra, has been Trump all along. Hope you all enjoyed this response video. This is in no way a personal attack against Sinatra Says himself. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you all next time.